Hey everybody, how's it going? Nico here, and I'm taking a little breather. I wanted to have a bit of a frank discussion about the use and misuse of divination tools such as tarot and astrology, and how contemporary use and misuse of them can create a lot of problems, especially when it comes to misunderstandings, when it comes to things like fatalism. Where does free will come into it? What about personal lessons, as well as anything going on with the homeostasis of a person's, health and their quality of life and their psychology, where we really do need to start remembering the clear boundaries and lines for where things are appropriate and where they are not. This isn't meant to put any one person or any one content creator or any one reader on blast, but this is intended to put on blast sort of a cultural or social misunderstanding that has really, increased in prevalence this last 10 to 12 years. I did want to make sure that people understand, like, if you've heard me talk about this before, it probably was a long time ago, because I do remember addressing this topic in different ways in all kinds of different videos. But I remember having some more serious talks about this way back in the day. I do not have that video anymore, and that is why I am talking about it again. This is a conversation that used to be a lot more prevalent in the divination world on and offline, but because of so many shifts that have been going on in the online spiritual culture, it seems to have either been forgotten or maybe it's been paved over or drowned out on purpose. So the first thing I want to discuss is the nature of free will and how I think we can have a healthier philosophy around free will. I look at tarot and astrology as the traffic and the weather reports, respectively. What we do with the information, what we do with the guidance that presents how we behave and what we take on, agree to, or disagree to in those traffic or weather systems, of course, dictates the outcome. One bad weather day for one person could still be overwhelmingly positive versus a bad weather day for another person maybe ruining their life. It really all depends on how those circumstances are being worked with, how they are being confronted, how that free will and that agency is being used. There seems to be a very unhealthy deference to the fatalism aspect or the salvation consciousness that can come with the use of divination tools, such as astrology or tarot or oracle or numerology, or whatever you have out there. And it's really important to take a big step back from that, because that can create sickness. We're going to talk about sickness here in a minute. I like to look at fate as a tide, the world as a place that is subjected to the tides of change. And when you face a tide, you always have decisions that you can make with your free will to change whatever the situation or the outcome is. We can ride the wave, surf the wave, we can get off the beach, or we can get swept out to sea. Some of you may have made the free will decision not to go to the beach that day. It's really important to keep that in mind so that you're not giving your power away. Use these tools responsibly. And another aspect of using these tools responsibly is also understanding that tarot and astrology help you to get to the space where you will make the ultimate choice or take the ultimate test, demonstrate yourself in order to achieve the goal or the desire that you want or what you are trying to manifest in your life. Very few events and outcomes are just held in containers for all time and will just show up or precipitate a change because they're there. And even then, that is usually upon accomplishment of some kind of lesson or chain reaction situation that does need to occur in order to precipitate that manifestation or that outcome. A situation like that usually only shows up when you're getting multiple similar answers about a certain situation from multiple different readers over a set period of time. Now you got to be careful with that as well, because again, these readers aren't living your life for you. And so what you do when you're not getting a reading reading, if that's going to also affect how soon or how far out the chain reaction process is going to be able to do its work. I've said it before, tarot and astrology get you to the meeting. They get you to the date. They get you to the interview. They get you to the audition. How you choose to perform, how you choose to handle yourself, how you choose to direct that encounter or that situation is the same as you making your choices to get on or off the beach, surf the tide, or get swept out to sea. When it comes to learning how to do tarot or astrology as an active and engaged magical or spiritual practitioner, this also leads into the discussion of the lesson. There is a lesson that we always have to pay attention to when it comes to any kind of story that we are looking to divination to help us navigate or master or emerge victorious in. We cannot complete the story if we are the same person on the inside that we were when we started the journey in the first place. Tarot and astrology and all divination, including things like channeling, do extract a little bit of what you might call a price or a toll. Because you are essentially getting the spark notes or the cliff notes or the cheat codes for your life, at some point you are going to have to demonstrate, okay, well, what exactly have I mastered, learned, changed, or evolved in the way I work, communicate, connect, or engage the world, because I had all of this information given to me. And it's never just about you. Yes, it does also involve the external, but it's never just about the external either. We go to tarot and astrology to get a lay of the land, but the test of us, in that final climax, right, the judgment card of the tarot itself, it's a test of our method. It's a test of our story. Judgment in the tarot, the card that precedes the world, is the climactic event where we are demonstrating our ability for evaluation just before we go into the world card, which is all about a successful culmination, completion, level up, and victory. If the focus is solely on healing, taking shortcuts, getting, information to just sort of get ahead without any kind of change, any kind of evolution of character or change of patterns in self, will ultimately leave us stuck at what I refer to as the chain reaction situation or the chain reaction test. At some point, you get stuck and there is a plateau, there is a glass ceiling. It's not to say that your reading or all of the readings you've ever gotten that said, yes, something will happen, are lying. But you have hit a chain reaction moment. You are in a test of your ability to demonstrate your real, authentic growth and change inside and out, completely and holistically, not just a demonstration, right? There's a difference between being something and just wearing its costume or copying its moves, but true, authentic transformation so that this can culminate. And that chain reaction, like dominoes, will knock over a lot of other dominoes, which breaks that glass ceiling and moves you forward. However, if you are in a space where you have maybe been using tarot or astrology as more of a homeostatic maintainer, you are also playing with fire because you may be stuck in that situation forever, even though your goal and your desire is just sort of hanging out, right? It's hanging out in a treasure chest. No matter how much time goes by, it can be yours, but forever out of your reach until we stop treating the tarot and the astrology and divination as a homeostatic maintainer. So what is a homeostatic maintainer? A homeostatic maintainer is a term that is used in a lot of psychology circles and therapy circles as the system that is used to preserve peace and structure that is also preserving and maintaining dysfunction, dysregularity, as well as any kind of negative or unhealthy circumstance. So it's like it's remediating the challenge of the day, but it's keeping the vicious cycle going. And I've had plenty of situations that I've observed like that, even with my own tarot clients and things like that. I've had people that every time something new comes up, Oh, she hasn't grown. She needs to ask another question and another question. I've told people, and I tell people all the time, I recommend don't get a reading more than once a quarter. Let things grow. I think even once a quarter can be too much. But some people treat it as their homeostatic maintainer. But what kind of life is that to live? Do you really want to be in a situation where you have to hold up your marriage or your job or your career or your friendship or your business by having to call a reader every time something comes up that you don't trust yourself to handle? That's only a sign that you're not growing. That's only a sign that this is being used as a homeostatic maintainer. So if you find within yourself or maybe in other situations that that seems to be going on, really pay attention to the fact that the homeostatic maintainer is also maintaining the stuckness. And that means that a lesson is not getting learned and a chain reaction process is not getting kicked on. This is something where, again, tarot and astrology has been getting abused a lot because a lot of people have been using it as sort of an alternative medicine approach to psychotherapy, which I do not condone. I have nothing but contempt for that idea. I think that it's time to take a big step back from that. Use these tools as they're meant to be used. They are here to help us. They can guide us, but for God's sake, grow and progress with the story that you're being taken on. Learn your lessons. Don't try and use these as cliff notes and spark notes, because guess what? You're going to get an F if you think that you getting the cliff notes and the spark notes on a book is going to make you an expert in the report you need to give. You're probably going to get a 50% and you're going to fail. The same thing applies in this situation. It's going to be really important for us now as we kind of come out of the delusional days of the modern New Age into something where there is more respect for these arts as they are versus what emotional reasoning has projected them to be, to give them that respect, because when you do, then when it comes to the psychic and predictive work, that is where we are really going to see some magical turnabouts occur. I know that some people were probably waiting for me to talk about the Jerry Springer, Jeremy Kyle, daytime TV, Ricky Lake love reading stuff. I take it I don't even need to comment on that. If you're paying attention to what I'm saying, you can probably already guess how I feel about that. So we're just going to call the video good here. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. I just felt like this really needed to come out today. And this has been a subject that's been on my mind for the last week. And I've been guided in a lot of ways to start reopening conversations that I was having back in 2013 or even offline, just here locally in the spiritual community in Seattle. And so that's really what this is all about, getting us back on board now that the craze of the New Age is receding. We can take this more seriously and we can actually have this do the good job all of these things are meant to do. So there you go. Thank you so much for dropping by and having a listen. I'm going to get on my way because my cousin should be here in any minute now. So I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you all again soon.